Perfect. Thanks, Freddie. Well, welcome everyone to our next installment of our first Thursday evening lectures hosted by the College of Medicine and supported by our good friend Freddy Jacquin. Thank you very much. Okay, well, let's move on. So to the topic of tonight's seminar is on sleep. My name is Naveed Akhtar. I'm a GP in Chigwell in Essex. And I've been practicing some of these techniques and therapies on my patients for some time. And what I want to do to begin with is we'll talk a little bit about sleep, and then we're going to jump right in there. And Freddie's going to take over and show us some of the techniques that we can all use with our patients and clients and how we can help them overcome some of these problems with sleep. Now, what's sleep? Sleep is a natural state of the mind and body. And there are several characteristics of sleep, namely altered consciousness, inhibited sensory activity, reduced muscle activity, and an inhibition of nearly every voluntary muscle in the body. Now, during sleep, sleep's one of the most important states of our body. And it's during sleep that we help to restore our immune system, our nervous system, our skeletal and our muscular systems. And these are all vital to ensure that we maintain a good mood, memory, and cognitive function. Now, there's two different types of sleep, two different phases of sleep, as it were. We've got non-rapid eye movement sleep and REM, or rapid eye movement sleep. Now, these are two distinctly different states. And non-rapid eye movement sleep happens first. There's a transitional period called slow wave sleep, and then we move into the REM phase, in which there's a drop in body temperature, the heart rate may drop, and the brain uses a lot less energy. Now, every phase of sleep is important, but it's the slow wave sleep that's particularly interesting, because studies have shown that some of the techniques of hypnosis and self-hypnosis can actually replicate slow wave sleep. So by practicing the techniques, teaching it to our patients, we can actually improve their quality of sleep, their length of sleep, and actually get them back into some kind of sleep cycle. So I'm going to hand it over to Freddie now, who's going to talk a little bit more about sleep and how he uses it with his clients.
All right. Thanks, Nadeed. Thanks very much. Well, as we were saying earlier, some of you have logged on afterwards, but someone asked the question, they've got a client or a patient that's going to sleep, then waking up at 2 o'clock in the morning, and then staying awake for 5 hours, and probably waking up or I know it's happened to me in the past, and then you drop off to sleep about half an hour before you're supposed to get up, and then you wake up and you're completely tired. And as Naveed said, there's two phases of sleep, and there's the REM sleep, but we do need deep sleep. But they've also found that when you're in that deep sleep, you don't need to be in that deep sleep for as long as some people experience that deep sleep. REM sleep is absolutely crucial to our mental well-being. But it also, when you're in REM, if you haven't got the right level of REM, then it's depleting energy from your body in the end. So you wake up tired, and that tends to be what happens, especially for people who are suffering from depression, because they're not getting, their mind's overactive. You know, they're catastrophizing and they're worrying about things during the day, ruminating. And that rumination depletes their body from the energy. So instead of waking up refreshed, they tend to wake up tired. And then of course that carries into the feeling of not feeling well and not feeling good, and the depression carries on. So if we can help our clients and our patients get a really good night's sleep, and I'm going to explain a few ways that I might do that, then it's one of the best things we can do for people. And most of us at some point will suffer from sleep problems. A lot of young mothers do it. In fact, that carries on. If you've been waking up with your baby through the night, and then when the baby's sleeping, your pattern of behavior, your pattern of sleep has now changed. And so a lot of women suffer sleep problems after that, because their baby's now sleeping, but their pattern of sleep has changed. So it's like with everything, we've been speaking about over the last few weeks. Once we've learned something to that point where it becomes automatic, it's very hard to change consciously. We can put our conscious mind on it, but if the program is running at an unconscious level, then it's difficult to change consciously. That's where I believe hypnosis is the tool, because with hypnosis, it gives the operator, the doctor, the hypnotist, the hypnotherapist access to that underlying programming. And there's a few ways of doing it. And as you know, with hypnosis, we use a lot of visualization, imagination. And the way I work with people who wake up in the night at a specific time and then can't go back off to sleep, I use a very kind of simple visualization. I hypnotize my client and I get them at some point to visualize a kind of cartoon clock, kind of clock you see on Tom and Jerry, with the two kind of big alarm bells on the top. And then I get them to see the alarm that's set at the moment at 2 o'clock in the morning or 3 o'clock or whatever time it is they're generally waking up. And I get them in their mind just to change the alarm time. I ask my client up front, what time would be a good time for you to wake up? And most people will tell you a time, 7:30, 8 o'clock, or wherever it might be. COVID might be a bit later. But whatever time they have to get up, get them to set the alarm clock, the hand to that point, and then reset that clock. And I know that sounds too simple to be true, but to the mind and your body, the imagination is pretty much the same. And if you can visualize something happening, then your body tends to carry it out. And we were talking about this when we were talking about pain control. And even we were speaking a moment about quantum healing, and people say, well, how could that possibly be of any effect? It's talking to somebody, how can that make a change at a molecular or a cellular level? But I'm going to give you an idea of what I mean here right now about visualization and how it affects us physically. I want you all to do this. Do the best you can to visualize a lemon in my hand. Just get a clear visualization of a fresh lemon in my hand. See it in my hand. And I want you to imagine in this hand, I have a serrated knife. And I want you to watch as I cut through the lemon. And I want you to see the juice starting to squirt up and squirt down and go down my wrists. And I want you to watch as I now bite into the lemon. And what happens in your mouth? How many of you felt yourself salivating? Yeah, but I haven't got a lemon. I haven't got a knife. But if you can visualize something strongly enough, or imagine something strongly enough, it'll have a physical effect on you. And so let's take that one step further. We're going to at some point talk how we can change our body, if you like, through visualization. But that's for another session we're going to be talking about. But here, when we're talking about sleep, if you can get your clients to just do that one simple visualization, you can do this in a 5-minute doctor's appointment. Just say, just for a moment, close your eyes, and in your mind, you don't even have to do any hypnosis, because if they're visualizing a cartoon clock, as far as I'm concerned, they're in hypnosis. Visualize that clock, see the hand set at the time that you're waking up, the inappropriate time, and then reset that clock to a time that's appropriate for you to wake up. And then, as a hypnotherapist, we can give what's known as a post-hypnotic suggestion. And so, as someone was saying earlier, they've been doing relaxation with their client, because a lot of not being able to sleep is about being stressed and about being anxious. So if you can help your client in any way, I mean, I'll speak to Dr. Naveed in a moment and ask, because if we could figure out what a sleeping pill does, what actually that does to someone's body, why they can take a pill and they sleep, then we can pretty much figure out what's going on in their head and what's that doing to them physically. And then we could possibly suggest that effect. I mean, can you tell me what that is, Naveed? What does a sleeping pill do for someone? How does it help them sleep?
Well, a sleeping tablet. I mean, there are lots of different sleeping tablets on the market, but the main ones that most people use and actually get addicted to are the ones that block certain receptors in the brain, and stop certain neurotransmitters running. And that's the reason why they become addictive, because people need them more and more and more to maintain that effect.
So that's a physical effect on the brain, on their biology, so to speak. Right. Okay. I think I've got what you mean anyway. So we can, as therapists, because ideally we want our clients to be taking as less tablets as possible, and especially as Dr. Naveed said, that can become addictive to that client. That's the last thing we want. So if we can help someone sleep without the pills, which I know you can, and so we address those things, the stress, the anxiety they're feeling, and we now have tools to do that. We've spoken about the arrow technique for pain, but the arrow technique can also work for anxiety. It can also work for stress. And it's a very simple technique. In fact, we're going to run it in a while with somebody on any level of anxiety they're feeling. And you'll see how simple it is to run. But if you can run that, and if you have the time, and it doesn't take long to do hypnosis, it's not like we need 20 minutes to take someone into hypnosis. You can do it very rapidly, and then give them that visualization. If that is the case, that they're waking up at a specific time and can't go back off to sleep. So the other problem that people have is when they go to bed and they just lay there awake and they can't go to sleep. And they're generally ruminating about things they could have done or should have done or would have done had they had the time. And so there was some research done, but there's a very good book. I'm trying to think what it's called now. It'll come to me in a minute. Human Givens. It's a great book. But in that book, they were talking about this, and they were talking about why some people can't sleep. If you have an open loop, so what I'm saying is if you've had an argument with somebody, or if you think I should call my mother or I should call my sister and get this argument out of the way, then you need to close that loop, because otherwise your brain, if it's an open loop, your brain will continue to run it. So wherever you can, my mum used to say to me, never leave the house in an argument. And that was years and years ago. And I know what she means now, because if you leave like that, then that's on your mind all day and you're ruminating about what you could have said or done. So wherever you can, close those loops and find a way of either finishing that argument, saying what you've got to say, or dealing with what you've got to deal with. Because otherwise your brain is going to do that all day. And if you can imagine how much information comes through your senses all day, they say it's millions of bits of information that come in through your touch, your sense of smell. Most of it is useless information. But when you sleep, in that REM sleep, this is how I see it anyway, your brain is filtering all that out. It's filtering out the things that are of no use to you, the things that are stored during the day, and it's filtering it out. So that when you wake up in the morning, all you're left with is the information you need to survive and achieve what you want. But if you're not getting that sleep, if you're ruminating, then you're not getting the proper sleep and it's not doing that job. And that tends to work into your next day. So you're tired the next day as well. So wherever you can, take the time out. If you think, I should have said that, I meant to say it, then get it done. The other way of doing this is to spend half an hour or whatever time you've got with a piece of paper, sorting out the things you should have said or done that day. So write them down. So when you are laying awake at night and you start to worry, you can remind yourself that you've already had your worrying time. You've done it. There's no point in thinking about it anymore because you've done it. Make it a specific time to have that time of thinking about it. And wherever you can, deal with it. make the phone call, say what you have to say, clear that argument out of the way. If it's something you should have done, then try and do it if you can, because otherwise your brain's going to be going over it, and that's what's keeping people awake. But the joy of hypnosis is this: we can give a post-hypnotic suggestion. And this is the suggestion I give to my clients. From tonight, bear in mind, and we'll do it today with somebody if you want, from tonight, whenever you get into your bed with the intention of going to sleep, you feel the coolness of your pillowcase, you feel the security of your bed, you will go into a deep, refreshing sleep to awaken in the morning at 7:30 or whatever time they've given you. Because with hypnosis, you can be very specific about when you wake up. I'm sure most of you have done this when you think, I've got to get up at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. It's important. And you go to sleep, and before the alarm goes off, maybe 30 seconds before the alarm goes off, you wake up. And it's 8 o'clock, and you hear ding, the alarm goes. Yet, how does your brain measure that to the minute? But it can. And so when you're giving a post-hypnotic suggestion, you can be very precise about the time. So this is my suggestion for all of my clients who want to sleep, want to go off to sleep. From tonight, whenever you get into bed with the intention of going to sleep, because sometimes it's not our intention to go to sleep, but whenever you get into bed with the intention of going to sleep, and you feel the coolness of your pillowcase and the security of that bed, you'll drift into a deep, refreshing sleep to awaken tomorrow at 7:30, refreshed and energized and ready for the day, having slept 7 or 8 hours. So you can be very specific when you're giving a post-hypnotic suggestion. And one of the other things you can do is people come in and they say, I lay in bed every night and I'm laying there for an hour trying to go to sleep. Now, the word try implies failure. It just does. In our language, the word try implies failure. So give them another task. So I want you to go to bed tonight, get into bed with the intention of going to sleep, and I want you to repeat the word relax in your mind, quietly in your mind, and I want you to try and stay awake for at least 30 minutes. And generally, they never make the 30 minutes because now you're giving them something else to fail at. So there's all these different ways of using our language to help our clients sleep without having to take pills. But generally, we're working on the things that they're ruminating over. You can help them overcome all of the stresses and anxieties they've been feeling. And generally, it's about the past. When we ruminate, it's about things we could have, should have done. And so we can help people overcome that. We can do that very rapidly with a technique that I call the time machine. It's not regression work. I know there's a lot of schools of therapy out there work with regression. Personally, I don't use it. But there are times when it's of value to reassess or review a past event. But regressing people back to that age, for me, is not only very long-winded, but a very painful way to work with people. But there is a very rapid way to do it. I'm going to demonstrate both these things tonight. The arrow technique for anxiety and stress, and the time machine for reviewing and reassessing a past traumatic event. And it can be done very rapidly, as you see. All of what we're trying to teach you here on this workshop are things that you can apply in a 5 or 10 minute GP appointment. I've spoken to Naveed about this. Most of the doctors out there, when you talk about hypnosis, they say, I just haven't got time to be doing inductions and hypnosis. So what we're showing you is ways of using your language, whether you use the word hypnosis or not, but using your language in such a way that you can help someone in 5 or 10 minutes. That's the whole point of these workshops. And so I'm going to give you a couple of techniques tonight. I'm going to demonstrate them for anyone who wants to demonstrate them. I'm going to give you a couple of techniques tonight that will enable you to work very rapidly with people. I'm going to put this on speaker view because I'm not sure how many of you will be concerned about. I've got Naveed for some reason on my screen. Let's go. Anyway, let's go back to gallery view. Yeah, so are there any questions on this so far? Because we're going to be continuing with this on these points. Anyone at all? Right, okay. So let's go over this again. There are two, in my mind, there are two kind of problems with people. The ones who get into bed and they just can't go off to sleep. They've been trying to go to sleep and they lay there awake. And there's the people who go straight off to sleep and then wake up at an inappropriate time, then can't go back to sleep. We're going to be dealing with the underlying program, the kind of the body clock that's changed. And for a lot of people, if they've been working shift work, it's a problem. If they've been looking after their baby, that their body clock timing can change, those kind of things. And we're going to be looking at how we change that underlying program. We're also going to be looking at how we can eliminate or reassess a past traumatic event and do it very rapidly without any pain attached, without having to go through all of the things in your past. We can do that very rapidly. And we're going to show you quickly how to use the arrow technique. Someone's just made, oh, Amanda's put a thing in it. So we're going to show you very rapidly how you can use the arrow technique to eliminate all the stress and anxiety, every irrational fear that's been holding you back. So that's what we're going to do. And all of you, because none of these things are complex, all of you will be able to use these techniques. There is no reason. You don't have to be a qualified hypnotherapist or a doctor to use these techniques, because all of these things are drawn from what we do naturally anyway. So I'm going to demonstrate these three techniques to you. The first one is the arrow technique to eliminate an anxiety or stress. As many of you can join in as you want, okay? If you want to take part in this demonstration, then leave your camera on. If you don't want to take part in the demonstration, then turn your camera off. Can you all do that? Just for now. But I'll assume that everyone that's left on the screen is ready to experience this. And if you've got any stress or anxiety, now is the moment to let go of it. Okay? Right. Okay, well, we have got a lot of people in Twitter, so we're gonna do this, okay? So are you all ready to do this and let go of any stress and anxiety? Good. Just nod your head so I can understand. Good. Excellent. Right, I want you to do this. Just get comfortable, just so you're comfortable in that chair. Now, there are two things that I said when we spoke about pain that I symptom scale. One is pain, one is anxiety and fear. And the reason for that is because once we're free of that anxiety, it's very hard to remember what it felt like. So I want, in your own minds, you can do this, you can put it in the chat box if you want, on your own minds, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being really anxious and 0 being not anxious at all, how anxious are you feeling at the moment? Or how stressed are you feeling at the moment? Put that number in that chat box, just so we can see what happens at the end of it. Because in a moment, you won't be able to feel it. So just think about it now, put that in the chat box. Okay, great. Excellent. Okay, so if you're ready to free yourself from this anxiety, so that tonight, when you get into bed, you can sleep soundly, I want you to do this. I want you to take a breath in and just, when you breathe out, allow your eyes to close. That's it. Just take a breath in. As you breathe out, allow your eyes to close. Only as quickly as you're ready to be free of this anxiety and stress. Now I want you to have the experience of separating from your body. the essence of who you are, that intangible part of your being, the observer, the passenger in that human form. Just feel that separation from your body. Just leave your body in that chair for a while. It will be a wonderful feeling of liberation. The essence of who you are, that intangible part of your being, drifting away from your body, and understand that you are not your body, you are not your name. The essence of who you are is ageless and it's infinite. Imagine the essence of who you are now just drifting further and further away, drifting higher and higher, drifting up out of that house you're in. Imagine drifting even higher. Imagine you're drifting away from this planet so you can look down and you can see that incredible planet Earth below you. See that beautiful blue planet in your mind's eye. You can see the whites of the clouds, the whites of the mountaintops, the greens of the forest and the blue of the ocean. See that incredible planet below you. And notice as you watch that planet from way off, how your perspective changes. You can think about the 7.5 billion people on that planet, of which you are one unique individual. Understand, you are the most incredible creation in the known universe. There is no one else like you. There never has been, never will be. You are unique. And as you look at that planet from way off, notice how your perspective changes. Things that had seemed overwhelming no longer have any power over you. Things that had seemed hard or difficult to overcome no longer have any power over you. Now in your mind's eye, see a target between you and that planet, and a massive target below you. You can see the coloured bands, you can see the very centre. Now in the centre of that target is every ounce of stress and anxiety, every irrational fear that's been holding you back. All the stress in your body, all the stress in your mind is in the centre of that target. Now in a moment, I'm going to make this sound. And as I make that sound, you are going to be fired, shot like an arrow, straight through the centre of that target and straight out the other side in a millisecond. But I want you to be brave about this, because as you go through the centre of the target, you may experience that anxiety and stress even more intensely for a split second, a millisecond. Be brave. This is the last time this is ever going to affect you. So get ready. As I make that sound, you're going to be fired through that target in a millisecond into a space of total bliss. Get ready. And now you're out the other side, just drifting in a space of bliss. Nothing bothers or affects you, nothing disturbs you. Just for a moment, think about the people you love in your life, your friends, your family, and feel that love now. Feel it like a burning hot sun in a summer sky. Shrink it down to a white hot nuclear powered ball of light as big as a golf ball, and pull that into the very core of your being, and feel that love and that light flooding your body into every cell, every fiber, into the very marrow of your bones. Feel it, feel your heart expanding, and notice that when you feel that love in your body, in your mind, that light, every ounce of anxiety and stress is gone, because those two things cannot coexist in your body at the same time. As you feel that love and that light flooding your body, notice that every ounce of stress and anxiety has gone from your mind and your body, because those two emotions cannot exist in your body at the same time. Now imagine drifting across the other side of the room so you can see yourself in that chair. You can see the clothes you're wearing. You can hear my voice. And notice as you watch yourself from the other side of the room, how every ounce of stress and anxiety has gone from your body and your mind. You cannot feel it. You cannot experience it. And I'd like your unconscious mind to make those changes now at a molecular, cellular, neurological level that will allow you that freedom forever from every ounce of stress and anxiety that's been holding you back, keeping you awake. And from tonight, when you get into bed with the intention of going to sleep, and you feel the coolness of that pillowcase and the comfort and security of your bed, you will drift into a deep, refreshing sleep to awaken in the morning, an appropriate time for you, having slept 7 or 8 hours, refreshed and energized. From tonight, when you get into your bed with the intention of going to sleep, and you feel the coolness of that pillowcase, the comfort of that bed, you will drift into the most profound, wonderful, deep sleep to awaken having slept 7 or 8 hours at an appropriate time for you, totally refreshed and re-energized. When you're ready to drift back over to your body and drop down into your body in that chair, only as quickly as those changes have taken place, that will allow you that freedom forever, the freedom to sleep, the freedom to relax. Only then will you drift back over to your body, drop down into your body in that chair. Only then will your eyes open and you, with a feeling of freedom, a calm inner confidence, a feeling of peace you may have never experienced before, that you're going to take into everything you do, free of every ounce of stress and anxiety. Go ahead, take your time, do it thoroughly, while I wait quietly for your return. Okay, that's right, drifting back up, feeling absolutely incredible. Okay, I want you to try and experience that anxiety and stress now and find you cannot. On a scale of 1 to 10, where's that anxiety gone now? And put that number in the box, in the comment box, so we understand. And from tonight, when you get into that bed with the intention of going to sleep, you will go into the most wonderful, deep, refreshing sleep to awaken in the morning, free of every doubt, every limitation. That's right. Excellent. Great. Well, thanks for taking part. Those who are still in the room, come back into the room. Right. And so this is not complex. It really isn't. It doesn't take very long to help somebody undermine that anxiety and that stress. You all have the ability to do it, okay? Try this for yourself. The words are in my book, that you'll see work that I've done with the College of Medicine. You'll see the arrow technique on my YouTube channel. You're all, you can all learn it and use this. Use it for your friends, use it for your family, use it for yourself. So that's how I would help my client in a very short period of time alleviate or undermine the stress and anxiety. So the next technique is, if you have a client that is still being affected by a past trauma, the joy of it is I don't have to know what that trauma is to help that client overcome it. The client knows what it happened or where it was. And I'm going to show you very quickly how you can reassess, reevaluate, let go of the emotion attached to the past trauma, take the strengths from it, take the learnings from it, but let go of that stress and anxiety or the fear or the pain or whatever it was, and do it in a very, very small period of time, okay? I'm talking about minutes, not weeks, not months, not years of therapy, in 2 or 3 minutes. But again, you have to explain to your client a few things. One is they survived the event. Secondly, they have evolved since that event. They're not the same as they were when that event took place. And that event is in the past. And the past, in reality, is a void. It's a vacuum that stretches back to the Big Bang. It no longer exists. But the emotion we felt in a past trauma can stay with us, and it can still spike us, and it can slow us down. But we have to make it clear to our clients that the past is a void. It's that vacuum. Even what I've just said is now in that void. And so when someone's got a past trauma, and if someone wants to be the demo subject here, we don't have to know what that trauma was. If you want to feel differently about it, then we can show you how this works here. If not, I'll just explain it. But if there's anybody there, just switch your mic on so I know where you are, because there's 4 kind of sheets here and I can only see one at a time. So if anyone wants to experience this, just switch your mic on and see what we can do.
Yes, please.
Judith?
Yep.
Okay, Judith. Right, okay. So there's something in your past that still spikes you when you think about it. Is that right?
Right.
And are you ready to be free of the emotion that's attached to it?
Yes, please.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Right. First thing to understand is that you survived whatever it was, and we don't have to know what it was, but you survived it. And I'm going to ask you to look at it again. So you're going to have to be brave to do this at some point, but it's going to be minutes, not hours, to look at it, all right?
Okay.
And we're going to just reassess that event, because you've evolved. You're not the same person you were a week ago. And you're definitely not the same person you were 20 years ago. You've evolved. But you can be left with that piece of programming. So if you're ready to do this, yes?
Yep.
Okay, I want you to do this for me. Get comfortable.
Right.
Be comfortable. Yeah.
Yep.
And when you're ready, just take a deep breath in. I'm going to pin you to the screen if that's right, Judith. It's perfectly painless. So in fact, I'll spotlight you so everyone can see you if that's all right. Okay, you all right with that? You happy with that?
Fine, fine.
Okay, I want you to do this then. I want you just to take a breath in, and as you breathe out, just allow your eyes to close. When you're ready to do this, when you're ready to go back to it, that's right. Just let your hands relax, let your body relax. Okay, and I want you to, you're going to go into a wonderful deep state of relaxation now. Just imagine for a while, nobody wants anything, no one expects anything, there's nothing for you to do but to relax and go deeper and deeper into that wonderful state. That's right. Think of those other experiences of hypnosis you've had with me, maybe listening to that sound. But you don't need to be in hypnosis, you just need to be drifting down. Imagine that's happening automatically. Imagine there's nothing you can do about that, just drifting down to a space of total bliss. It's right, deeper, deeper down into that feeling. Every word I say now is going to double that feeling. And everything I say now is your reality. Every suggestion I give you, your body and mind will act upon at a molecular, cellular level. It's your reality. Just for a while, you'll see what I say you can see, hear what I say you can hear, feel what I say you can feel. As you go even deeper into that wonderful state of bliss, like you've had a bliss anesthesia. And as you drift into that state, that chair you're in is the time machine. You're going to go back through time as if time doesn't exist. But you're going to go back, Judith, with all the strength you have now as an adult, all the strength you have now as a woman, with all the experience you've had now. You're going to go back to the very first moment, to that moment that relates to that emotion that you want to be free of, that's been spiking you for maybe for years. But you need to be brave about this. But be brave. This is the last time it's ever going to affect you. In a moment, I'm going to click my fingers. And that chair and you are going to get sucked back through time as if time doesn't exist. Back to the very first moment that relates to that pain and trauma. Be brave. It's the last time it's ever going to affect you. Get ready. And you're back there now, Judith. You can see that younger you just about to go through that experience. Drop down beside her with the understanding you have now, the experience you have now, the strength you have now as a woman, as an adult. Drop down beside that younger you and put your arm around her and walk her through that event, knowing you survived it. And I'd like you, Judith's unconscious mind, to take the learnings, take the strengths from that event, store them in that part of her mind, And when you're ready, Judith, to free yourself forever from that pain and that emotion, I want you to give that younger you a hug. I want you to thank her for going through that experience for you. I want you to tell her you survived it. And give her a hug and say goodbye. Do it now, Judith. Give that younger you a hug and say goodbye. Now step over that line into your future. Turn around. See that girl with a smile on her face waving goodbye as you free her forever. Then close that door behind you. Now drift back to now only as quickly as you can reevaluate every subsequent event that led you to this moment. That's right. Review and re-establish those wonderful thoughts in your mind. Do it now. That's right. Reassess it as you drift back to now. Only then when you drift back into your body, drop back into your body in that chair, only then with your eyes open and you unable to experience any of those negative emotions attached to that event in the past. Go ahead. Do it thoroughly. And from tonight, when you get into bed with the intention of going to sleep, you're going to drift into the most profound, wonderful, deep sleep. Go ahead, take your time, do it thoroughly, while I wait quietly for your return. Excellent. I want you to think about that. Think about that event now. It's a bit odd, wasn't it? But think about that now. Try and feel that emotion and find you cannot. Where's the emotion gone now, Judith?
Disappeared. Yeah, that's quite an experience.
Well, that will never affect you again. And tonight you're going to sleep soundly.
Oh, that would be good. Thank you, Freddie.
Excellent. Well, sleep well.
I should look forward.
But thanks for doing that for us. All right. I know that emotion that you've been feeling for all those years will never affect you again.
Really.
Thanks very much, Judith, for doing it. I'm going to unspotlight you. But thank you for being the demo. Right?
Thank you much. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you. All right. Okay. So let's just spotlight someone else. Spotlight myself, maybe. Right. Okay. Well, look, as you can see, none of these things that we're teaching you are complex. Everything we're teaching you, you are capable of doing. You don't have to be a hypnotherapist. You don't have to be a doctor to help somebody do this. At no point did I go take 15 minutes to take Judith into hypnosis. All I asked her to do was to, when she was ready to free herself, was to take that breath in, allow your eyes to close and relax your body. You can suggest relaxation, but that's as deep as you need to be. I gave what I call a super suggestion within that, which is this, and it's very difficult for a lot of hypnotherapists to do, and maybe even more so for doctors. But I say this, everything I say now is your reality. That's a very big thing to say to somebody. Every suggestion I give you, your mind and body will act upon at a molecular, cellular, neurological level, is now your reality. If you're going to ask someone to visualize something or experience something, you can go further and say, you will see what I say you can see and feel what I say you can feel. Hear what I say you can hear. Bear in mind, that's a big thing to say to somebody, because what you're saying is for the next few minutes, what I say is going to be your reality. But as with Judith, she can no longer feel that anxiety and that stress. For me, that's all that really matters. And it happened in 5 minutes. I don't know what the timing was because I'm not looking at the time. But you can see how quickly you can alleviate a past trauma. Someone can have a trauma they've been going through for years and years. You don't have to do months and months of regression and psychoanalysis to help that client overcome that problem. because the mind will immediately go, when you ask it to go to the very first moment that relates to that problem, it will go there. And you remind your client, whatever it was, they survived it. You're just going to look at it again, reassess it, reevaluate it. How many of us would love to go back to our 13-year-old selves and give our 13-year-old selves some advice and tell them about the life they've got coming up? How many of us would love to be able to do that? And that's really what we're doing here. We're reassessing, reevaluating a past trauma from where we are now, with the understandings we have now as an adult, as a mother or a father, or wherever it is you're at this point in time. And you can quickly take all the emotion, all the negative emotion out of the past event by doing that. Okay, so that is how I would, if someone says to me, I lay awake at night and I'm thinking about this thing that happened 20 years ago or 30 years ago, and it just keeps me awake at night, you can run the time machine on it. If it's a general anxiety, worrying about things that they could have done or should have done or might be coming up in the future, then you can run the arrow technique to eliminate the irrational fear and anxiety. There are two tools that you can use, and all of you, whether you're doctors, nurses, therapists or not, or mothers or fathers, all of you can use these tools. And they're very powerful, as you've just seen. Some of you just experienced it. Were you going through that, Annabelle? And what happened to you? Can you switch your mic on and tell me what your experience was there?
It was very enjoyable. It was very freeing. And I have sort of worked with like your stuff before and with other stuff. So I also find it's a really beautiful accumulative effect. Like every time something like that happens, I can get into that state faster, and I can use it like almost like you know, it's you know 2 o'clock in the afternoon here, and I can use it at work and at stuff like that. So it is it's a great tool, and I use it personally so as I don't get like, I don't use it in reaction to something. I use it kind of proactively.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but it does work. What you just did traumatically, it will work post fact, but I find it works best if I'm proactive with myself about it.
Right. So you're talking about using the time machine to go out into the future event and kind of making that happen. Yeah. Well, that's a fantastic way of doing that.
Like sometimes I have, when I'm in school, I have like little belief systems that I can't answer the assignment properly, or I don't know how to critically analyze. So I really started using it for that. And just guess what happened? It just came easier.
That's fantastic.
It makes it easy. The nervous system wants ease. So I kind of see that now. Yeah. I see that's what I can give it that nourishment, and it goes boom.
Oh, fantastic. Well, thanks for commenting. What you're saying there though, as well, Annabelle, about the nervous system wants ease. The other thing that we're geared towards is pleasure. So when we're thinking about a future outcome, something we want to achieve, just while we're on that point, even if it's sleep. So imagine the outcome. Imagine waking up in the morning at 7:30, having slept for 7 or 8 hours, and then feeling to what that feels like to wake up in the morning, having slept for 7 or 8 hours, and then ask this question: how much fun is that? And how much fun can I make that? Sleeping soundly throughout the night. How important is it for me? Because if we can feel what that feels like, then, and we feel the fun in it, and it's a big thing that's missing in all this manifesting that people are talking about, you feel into the outcome and ask how much fun it is, because our body's geared towards pleasure. And then once you felt into that and feel what it feels like, everything about your being is geared towards making it happen. So thanks for commenting. But look, we've got we've got about 8 minutes left. I did want to talk to you about this programming and how we can undermine the body clock, if you like. We've done that with I said about the cartoon clock, but the actual body clock, the habitual waking up, we can change. And we're going to do that very quickly now. I'm going to go over this, and it's what we would call a parts negotiation. When we create any sort of underlying programming, it's as if we create a part of us that's doing that for us. And so you have a part, if you're waking up at 2 o'clock, you have a part of you that's going, wake up. And it's an inappropriate time, because at some point it might have been important to wake up at 2 o'clock. So we're going to undermine that now. I'm going to just, again, if you've got someone to demonstrate, we've got 7 minutes. It'll take 3 minutes to demonstrate this. Who's up for doing this as a demo? Anybody? Just switch.
Yeah, I will.
Who's that? Oh,
Natalie.
Okay, Natalie, I'm going to spotlight you to the, so everyone can see, if that's all right. Let me make, let's say, find it. Add spotlight. Right, okay. So you're now spotlighted. You like doing this?
Yes.
Right, so in a moment, I'm going to just take you into a beautiful state of relaxation. It's going to happen like that. And then I'm going to speak to the part of you responsible for your sleep, and it will communicate. I'm going to ask it to explain why it's waking up at inappropriate times. Then I'm going to ask it to make those changes to your body clock so you can wake up at an appropriate time. What's an appropriate time for you to wake up?
7.
7. Right, are you ready for this?
Yep.
Place your hands separately and just take a breath in and close your eyes. Just listen to my voice. And as you listen to my voice, imagine it's just dropping down into that incredible state of total relaxation and bliss, way beyond anything you've experienced before. And as you go deeper and deeper, everything I say now is your reality. And every suggestion I give you, your mind and body will act upon. And as you drift even deeper, you can use your unconscious mind as a resource you can learn from, really have an experience. And so as you drift deeply into that trance, I'd like you, Natalie's unconscious mind, the part of her that's responsible for her sleep, I'd like it to communicate with me in some way. And I don't know, it'll be the eyes that flicker or those hands that begin to lift or the head that nods, but you'll know as that movement begins, even as you become aware of certain sensations. When that part responsible for Natalie's sleep patterns and behavior, taking full control of those hands, I'd like it to pull those hands up so that she and I understand. As you become aware of that movement increases now, and as those hands begin to lift, I'd like to ask that part now that runs Natalie's sleep program to explain to her what it is that he wants her to know, why she's been waking up, what it is she needs to deal with. And when she fully understands, I want it to increase those signals. I want it to make it absolutely clear to me and to her by pulling those hands up rapidly now, higher and higher. Even as you become aware of the movement, Natalie, feel that force around those wrists. Now I'd like to ask that part to make whatever adjustments at a molecular, cellular level that will allow Natalie to sleep soundly for 7 or 8 hours through till 7 o'clock in the morning. And as those changes take place, I want you to see yourself waking up in the morning at 7 o'clock, refreshed and energized. See it clear in your mind as that movement increases now. And as that movement increases, see yourself waking up at 7 o'clock and go and step into that body, Natalie, and feel what it feels like to sleep for 7 hours. Feel into it. Ask yourself the question, how much fun is that to sleep soundly throughout the night? How much fun can you make it? And how important is it to you? Feel into that and put that in the back of your mind. And now I'd like to ask that part responsible. That's right, feel that movement now, even more so. As that movement increases, I'd like to ask that part to make those changes now at a molecular, cellular level that will allow Natalie to sleep soundly for 7 or 8 hours. And from tonight, when you get into that bed with the intention of going to sleep, you'll drift into the most wonderful, deep sleep to awaken in the morning at 7 o'clock, having slept soundly throughout the night. Feel all of those limitations dropping away, Natalie, now, as you go even deeper into that wonderful feeling. I'd like to ask that part responsible for Natalie's sleep patterns to make those changes now, integrate these changes into her body and her mind. When it's done that completely, I want it to increase those signals so she and I understand. Good. Now I'm going to count to 10. And every suggestion I've given you, your mind and body will act upon. And from tonight, you will sleep soundly. Imagine there's nothing you can do about that. 1, feeling absolutely wonderful. 2, to achieve that wonderful sleep you want. 3, a feeling of freedom from every limiting belief, every ounce of anxiety and stress. 4, feel the force of that wonderful energy flooding your body and your mind now. 5, feeling incredibly alive, Natalie. 6, 7, 8, eyes opening, feeling absolutely wonderful. 9, 10. Excellent. Okay. We're kind of time constraint here, so I'm going to hand back over to, thanks for doing that for us. Hand back over to Naveed, because I know we're kind of running out of time, but thanks for doing that for us. Brilliant.
No, my pleasure. Thank you very much.
Great.
Hello. Hi.
I'm just
thanks. Thanks, Freddie, for that. That was an amazing session. I think everyone will agree that we learned quite a lot in the last hour or so. And thank you for those volunteers who stepped forward. I know it takes a lot of courage to step forward and to do this in front of the group. But I think, you know, we'll all agree that we learned so much today. We've marketed these sessions as advanced communication skills, and I hope you'll all agree that actually we're not doing anything different to just talking to people. You know, our clients, our friends, our patients, people come to us with these problems. You can quite easily slip this into a normal conversation while people are saying, oh, I've got this problem, or can you help me with this? And you say, well, actually, the way I tackle a lot of this is I'll say to people, well, okay, well, should we just try something, or let's just play a game? And you can slip in the idea, the notion that you want to try a technique without actually calling it a technique. And hence the advanced communication skills, because like Freddie said, you don't need any qualifications to do this. You don't need any degree to do this. It's very simple, very straightforward. And I know a lot of you out there are thinking, can it really be that simple? Can it really be that easy to do? And actually it can be. And Freddie and myself and many others have been doing these for quite some time. And those who join us on these Thursday afternoons or on Freddie's sessions know that actually it can be quite effective in 3 to 5 minutes, which is plenty of time in the standard doctor 10-minute sessions, and more than enough for those of you who have the luxury of a 60-minute consultation or appointment. So I really do urge you all to go out there and just give it a go and try. We've seen loads of questions on the board here, and I've tried to address most of them. If anyone's got any questions, feel free to ask them now. We've got just a couple of minutes to go before we'll take this session to a close.
I have got a sleep audio. If anyone would like it, then email me or email the college. In fact, I'll put it on the college for all of you who are college members. I'm sure you all are. If you're not, you can join up and become a member. It's brilliant. But if you want, I'll put it there. I'll give it to Amanda. She'll make it available to everybody, so you can just utilize it in your own time and just listen to it. Okay, and I'll put that on the college site for all of you.
And the College of Medicine YouTube channel has will have this recording and our previous sessions recording. So feel free to go back and watch them at your leisure and practice the techniques. And we really encourage you to do so. And please, at the next session, which we're hoping to hold on the 6th of May, will be the date for the next Thursday evening session. Feedback, let us know how you're getting on, any troubles that you might have had, any issues that you've encountered, and some success stories will be really good to share with the group.
I think the next session is we're going to be talking about addictions.
Addictions and smoking.
And smoking in particular, which we're going to get into that, but though it's called an addiction, it's very flimsy addiction. So there's a few of the other things we're going to be talking about, but that's what people think of them as, so we're going to be talking about that. and how you can help your clients, help yourselves overcome those addictions. If you're interested in what I do, then check me out, freddyjacquin.com. If you want to train with me, look at the Jacquin Hypnosis Academy. It'd be great to see you on our training course. If you haven't already done that, you can get a 14-day free membership. And in that time, you could binge on myself and Anthony, my son, could binge on all our stuff for a fortnight and see what you think. And there's my books out there. And there's also the Arrow app. If you haven't downloaded it yet, it's an Arrow app for pain. But you could be there thinking, I'm going to apply this to my anxiety, and just think anxiety instead of pain when you use it. It's free to download. It's called the Painkiller app. So it's different. It's not the Arrow app. It's Painkiller app. It's got my voice on it, and you can utilize that. And if you know anyone in pain, point them in that direction. It's free. I want millions of people out of pain because of that app. Thanks, Naveen. I'm sorry I jumped in a little bit there, but
No, absolutely fine. And on that, I think we'll draw this session to a close. Thanks everyone for attending.
yeah, thanks for attending. Great to see you.
We'll see you next month.
Okay, take care. Bye all.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Freddie.
Thank you.
Have a lovely evening and a lovely weekend.
Thank you. Bye-bye.